Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Nerds with Words. I am Brandon. This is Sam. Sam, hello. Before we get any further into this, I want to acknowledge some people let us know that they were aware that we had a third host. And we do. It's our biggest fan. His name is Vic. Vic, say hello. Whoa, man. Yeah. Language. Why don't you go into another room? Because we can't have that kind of talk in here. That's... Oh, buddy.
At least R-rated,
just go away. That. Just go away. Thank you. Bye, Vic. Ugh. We might have Vic on again when he can learn how to get his
act together a little bit.
Control. It's ridiculous.
So we'll see.
How you doing today, Sam?
Good.
Good. Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, I work on the weekends and everything. Every weekend, it's for the last 2 years. Basically, I'm a nurse, and so that's what I do. So I've been doing a weekend work job, but that's going to end soon, and then I'm going to be taking a new role, which will be nice, but the weekend was good. It was decent.
I just have a question to ask.
Yes.
So I think it was Friday. You guys were out at Deanna Rose? Or
we went to a place out in Kearney, Missouri called Fun Farm.
Fun Farm.
Yeah, it was like a good patch.
So I saw all your kids got buried in corn.
They did.
Told your wife to bury you in corn, did she?
She did not bury me in corn.
That sucks.
I didn't climb around in the corn pit as much as the kids
corn
did.
Pit. So. The picture of your youngest cracked me up. I told Emily she dove into the corn.
Yes.
And then she kind of ostriched her head into it, and I just died laughing at that.
Yes. Oh. All 3 of the kids got buried in the corn, though, and they enjoyed it a lot. And actually walking around in it was quite the tactile experience with your shoes off, because it rubbed and it felt kind of good, but then it also tickled a lot. And I was like, so very limited time walking around in it because it was a very odd feeling.
Was it also one of those things where you pick it up and you just let it roll through your hands and that very satisfying sensation?
Oh yeah,
like sand.
Yeah, it was very nice. It's probably one of the biggest corn pits I've ever been in. So.
I have never been in a corn pit, so I'll take your word for that.
Yeah, it was very nice for a little while.
Now, I will say I asked you to do something over the weekend and you didn't do it.
That's not true. Actually, I don't know what you're talking about.
I asked you to play Outer World for a little bit.
Oh, but I did.
But you did today.
I did today. Okay.
So, we'll talk about that coming up.
Okay.
But, that's why I texted you this morning.
Yeah.
I was like, so did you play Outer World? And you're like, no. And I'm like, man, I think I put 3 hours into Outer World. Now I can't really discuss it that much, but we still talk about it.
Well, it's I had other homework. I made a list, and I got those turned in.
True. Yeah. Which if you want to hear Sam's, God dang it, and smacking the table. I'm also going to take my wedding ring off. Monica didn't hear that.
Oh, he's unmarried.
Yeah, I'm unmarried for the next
ladies.
2 hours. How you doing,
wild.
Sam?
Yeah. Whoa. Things took a turn.
Hey-o.
Vic, maybe we need you back in here.
Yeah. Bring the alcohol. Hey, this is I can't say this is an alcohol-free podcast. You were drinking last week.
It's true, I'm drinking this week.
But that's not alcohol.
Yeah, it is.
It is? Okay,
it is
we'll see. I'll try it then.
Oh, okay. You want to try this one?
Sure, I'll try that one.
That's pear. It's not
pear.
the best.
And the brand is Spiked Seltzer.
Yeah.
Bon and Viv.
Yeah, I guess.
Pear,
Emily loves Trulies, and we have a bunch in our fridge. So Emily's my wife, and so I'm kind of helping clear out some of them.
Okay, see, that's not bad. I can't drink.
Do you want this one?
What's the flavor? No, I hate grapefruit.
No? Okay. I'll hold on to that.
What?
I said I'll hold on.
Oh, yeah, hold on to that knowledge. That's fine. And then I totally forgot where I was going.
Let's see. We were talking about Vic. You were talking about being, who knows, questionable.
Yeah.
Thoughts towards you.
Anyways.
Corn.
So.
You gave me a homework.
Homework list. Yes, if you want to hear Sam's lists of his ranked DCEU, MCU plus some, the next episode of the Real Superhero Project will be on this Friday because we'll be recording it right after this one. This should hopefully go up around the world, I guess, on Wednesday, which also, good news, literally at 8:01 p.m. about an hour ago, we got approved on Apple.
Woo!
Finally. And had we not been, I was actually going to yank it tonight and readmit it because sometimes it makes it go faster. I don't know. But so yes, we are now on Apple. We are on Spotify. We should be on Google tomorrow.
Nice.
Should be. And then there's an RSS feed on the Pizza and Cookies website, pizzaandcookies.com/untitled. Is that backslash? How is that on a website? I'm
not sure. I haven't seen it.
Whatever slash you normally put in a web address, it's that
backslash.
And then Untitled.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. It should be.
And probably one of our first listeners, and I gave him a shout out last week, but Justin, I sent him the Spotify link, and he commented shortly after talking about how he liked the podcast. So, Justin, thank you for your feedback.
Hello, Justin.
I know. We appreciate that.
Thank you for carrying me on every time we've played Rainbow Six. That goes to anybody who's ever played Rainbow Six with me. Thank you for carrying me.
That's right. Sometimes you're there for just the company.
You know,
That's what matters.
I need something to do and to kill some time and talk to people.
Happy to have you yelling at Austin.
Yeah, yelling at Austin. Go to sleep, Austin. Yeah, I just confused my son. He's upstairs like, what? I'm doing homework.
There you go.
So anyways, Sam's list will be on the next episode of the Real Superhero Project, which will be this Friday. And this should be going up on Wednesday. We just said the date, the 29th, because of a game coming out. We'll talk about it.
30th.
30th.
Wednesday's the 30th.
What is today? I don't even
Today's
know.
the 28th.
It's 28th.
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be here.
Yeah. We all are.
We all are.
When you look at it overall.
Well.
Maybe we get into the ethical discussion of that, but
we'll get
it's
into
not
it.
what the podcast is about tonight.
No, it's not. Real quick, so let's start with, I want to talk about some of the games, the biggest games that were released in the last week. I tried looking up movies, but nothing seems interesting. Double Tap is the only thing that...
Which I saw.
Oh!
I went and saw it in the middle of the day.
Oh.
At like an 11 o'clock.
When you don't work during the day, I guess that's easy. What did you think? What was your initial...
It wasn't as good as the first, kind of one of those ones. 10 years after the, previous one. The first one kind of surprised me, and for those of you that had seen the first Zombieland or don't know what it is that are listening, the whole idea, obviously you can get from the name, zombies have taken over the world, so it's a post-apocalyptic with zombies, and Jesse Eisenberg plays a character that has like a set of rules, and then Woody Harrelson and him kind of team up, and then Emma Stone comes into that, and she has a sister that kind of is with her too. That's the first one. The sequel, it kind of continues that story, but they acknowledge that 10 years has passed, and they kind of live their lives in Zombieland at that point. And it was okay. I'd say like a C. C if I was on a grading scale. 5 if it was 1 out of 10. 50 if it was 1 out of 100.
Just right up the middle.
Just right up the middle. It was just average. There were parts that were funny, and they definitely hit all the trends, that of like, oh yeah, I expected to see some of this in the movie and what I saw from the previous, but enjoyable, but just not like a fantastic movie.
It did what it was supposed to and nothing much more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. I heard Emma Stone said something too, that she thinks that they should do one every 10 years and just kind of keep revisiting the characters. Yeah, just go back after 10 years later.
I like that idea though.
And yeah, it's not the worst thing ever. I'd be like, yeah, I'd probably go and see a few more of those.
Yeah, as long as they don't degrade and just stay.
Yeah, if they stay middling,
yeah,
I'm good with that. Yeah. So.
But see, I couldn't find any other movies that I even really cared about because, I mean, unless you want to see the Joker again, which I'll watch when it comes out on video, but I don't know if I'm going to pay to see that in the theater again. And that's not necessarily a knock on the movie, and we'll talk about that later. But the biggest games, I'm going to try, so every week I'll try to talk about whatever biggest games I personally feel are releasing that week, or Sam personally feels are releasing. That doesn't mean we're going to go through a run through of every game being released every week.
No, we'd be here forever.
That would be ridiculous. That'd be the whole episode.
Vic would have a lot to say about that.
Vic probably would not be very happy about that. And we all heard his language a little bit ago. But what we'll do is we'll sit and talk about the ones we think need to be acknowledged and the ones that are like, obviously, like Call of Duty just came out.
Yep.
And had we actually been making a full normal rundown on the debut episode last week, it would have been on the thing. It's on this week's, but it would be like, hey, Call of Duty's coming out this week. Really, it's the only thing that matters because it really was.
Yeah. Beast of a game.
Yes. So we'll give you a rundown of what we think the biggest titles that are releasing this week. And then we're going to go into a news topic. Just, throw out what we think our biggest news things that were happening in the last week. Some weeks, there'll be more. Mm-hmm. Some weeks, there'll be less. We'll try to, especially if we feel like there's going to be a lesser week on news, then we'll probably, or even games releases, but also we'll talk about movie releases and other stuff too. But then maybe we'll try and stretch out our topic of the week a little bit more. But yeah, it is what it is. Apparently, I forgot how to breathe.
Hate when that happens.
Oh, don't you hate that? So
drink.
What?
Or when you forget how to
drink. Or we forget how to drink, yes.
Always fun too.
I always make fun of my children when they forget how to drink because it's always hilarious. Except for, so we went to the trunk or treat thing on Saturday.
Yeah.
And then we went to the store right afterwards, and Logan left on his Iron Man outfit. And
it's good look. Yeah.
I'm thirsty. I want a drink. And he walks over to the water fountain and basically puts his whole body down into the water fountain. I don't see this happen. Yeah. All I see is him run back to me. He goes, "Hi, Daddy," and I give him a hug, and I put my hand on the front of his outfit, and I'm like, "Why are you moist? Why is this?" And all I'm envisioning is because it's one of those padded Iron Man outfits, and I'm just envisioning the foam in it now being soaking wet, and I'm like, "Oh, son, what did you do?"
He's kind of like a Parks and Record. Water fountain drinker. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, which we had never done a trunk or treat before, by the way.
Oh, cool. And so, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was fun. It was nice. And my wife got mad at me.
Well, that's a good trunk or treat.
Well, so they were doing a giveaway, like little gift bags, and they were giving away free food, and they had this register to be a part of the random giveaway. And I walked over, which I want to point out, my wife said, "Go register." Well, okay. Yeah. So I walked over and I registered. And I put her name in because she told me to register. And she monitors that email address.
Okay. I don't see a problem.
She won over the intercom. "Monica Nichols, come get your thing." And I looked at her and she looked at me like, "You put my name in?" Everybody's staring at me. Yeah. And I'm like, "Go ahead. Yeah. Go right ahead." And she went as Sleepy Anna from Frozen.
Yeah.
Where she wakes up in the bed and her hair's all over the place.
Yeah.
She even took some, I don't know, Vaseline and kind of gelled it up to look like dry drool on her lip. She just made, and she took a tiara she has and she put it in her hair cockeyed, and it's just kind of a mess. And she went in pajamas. Yeah. So it was, I mean, she looked adorable, and she kind of looked like a princess that just woke up, and now she had to walk in front of everybody to go get this little itty bitty bag of a present, and she just shot me daggers the whole way. And I'm like, "What?" She said, "They said your name. They won't give me the present. They said your name."
Totally worth it.
It was.
Whatever
it totally
the present was. I'm sure it was.
Yes. You know, it came with a $10 Casey's gift card, which will totally be used on pizza. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Apparently Casey's. Well, actually, I've had their nacho pizza. But some people love it.
I love their taco pizza. I actually love their
taco. Is that the one with Doritos crushed up on it? Okay.
I actually prefer their cheeseburger pizza because it's literally instead of marinara sauce, they literally take this mixture of ketchup and mustard, and I think maybe something else, and that's the sauce. Yeah. And they also put the pickles on it and bacon and stuff. Yeah.
I've had a hamburger pizza that was like that before with pickles and stuff. It's very
the
interesting.
one here at Minsky's does that with their cheeseburger pizza.
Yeah, kind of a surprise if you don't know it's coming.
Yeah. Well, and Minsky's will cover up all their toppings with cheese, so if you don't know it's there.
Yeah.
So, but I think Casey's just throws it on top. So let's go ahead and get into the biggest releases. And like I said, I am going to start with last week because there were 3 actual. You know, I said Call of Duty was all that matters, but it wasn't. We'll start with Call of Duty because it's the elephant. Is it the elephant in the room? That's the same.
I mean, it's the biggest in the room.
Right.
You know?
True.
Usually that's something awkward, but
yeah, Call of Duty. So Call of Duty released technically at 8 p.m. Thursday night. I know you haven't gotten it.
Nope.
Are you?
I don't know.
Still don't know.
I've heard so good things from every one of my friends that has gotten it, and really, although I am off during the week, it becomes one of those questions of like, maybe I'll wait for it to drop in a little bit of price.
Right, which it usually does.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, Black Friday sales and everything else are getting ready to come. Honestly, if you want to buy a game, wait.
Yeah.
Especially
I don't know
if it's
that
for
I need
a present.
it now.
Right.
I think I'd be okay with waiting for $20, $30 price drop.
And anytime you want to just come over and try
there you go.
Play it.
See, I can do that too.
I will say one of the things that sucked was the download process.
Oh, yeah.
And install process. I want to say from start to finish, it took an hour. And that includes the install off of the disc.
Yeah.
And then all the updates and add-ons that just naturally come with the game. I didn't even purchase a special edition.
Yeah.
But it took a little bit over an hour. I laid up. Oh, and also, what agitated me, my nephew Dave's down here, and he bought it for the PlayStation 4. I bought it for the Xbox. Okay. I know it's crossplay, but I figured the more I literally, from the night one, I could already tell I made the correct decision for the console I bought it for instead of PS4. Nobody on my PlayStation was playing Call of Duty.
Really?
I had 4 people on my friends list on the Xbox that were playing Call of Duty.
Wow.
That night. So I was like, okay, this is the right choice. What agitated me was, so it started the install process, and it queued up all the add-ons and the DLC. Somewhere along the line, my Xbox decided we're going to pause the install. Now that you have some of the game installed, we can download all the DLC. So it went through and downloaded all the DLC, pausing the install.
Oh, that sucks.
So, and then it did which none of them were, like, there was, of all the, I think there was 3 or 4 downloads off of from having the game.
Right.
Only one of them was an update. All the rest of them were add-ons. So I sat and waited. Whereas when Dave did it, it prioritized the install on the PS4.
Right.
And then it started doing, and then it did the update, and then he was on and playing. He was on and playing about 35 minutes before me.
Dang.
And I literally laid on my couch upstairs watching Letterkenny on my phone while my thing updated, and he would give me updates. I'm done.
Yeah.
From down here in the basement, and I was finally like, just play. Yeah. I can't.
Huh.
So, but
that's odd, and I'm surprised that there weren't that many people playing. Like
on my PlayStation, there wasn't.
Well, even still, the install base is so much bigger on PlayStation.
Right, especially this generation, where last generation, Activision and Infinity Ward and all them, they basically were like, Xbox gets all the everything first and all this other stuff, and then this generation, and it's clearly because of console sales.
Oh yeah,
the 360 was so far. PlayStation didn't touch, the PS3 didn't touch Xbox install base until literally the last year of its life cycle before they switched to the next generation. And it's just reverse this generation. PS4 has just dominated everything.
Oh yeah.
And so and as you would imagine, Activision was like, well then that's the install base.
Well, an exclusive deal, exclusivity or whatever they say, and that comes into play too. And I'm sure maybe Sony was like, we're willing to shell out a little bit of money.
Right.
It's a big franchise, and can bring in some more players to them, and so hey, good on them.
I say, so do those exclusivity deals bother you?
I think the one that I've heard most recently with the Call of Duty, with like some of the features being lacking for a year for Xbox, that kind of bugs me a little bit.
But that wasn't Call of Duty.
No, this is this one.
Oh, really?
This is this Call of Duty.
Well, see, there's so Destiny.
Yeah.
Also has a similar thing.
Yeah.
There's a part of there's a map or guns or something. There's some kind of downloadable content in the newest Shadowkeep that won't be available for a year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'll give you a month, maybe 2 on timed exclusives. But if you're literally taking a large, you're insulting your fan base.
Yeah.
You're saying you don't matter. Our deal with X company matters more. Because it's not about the PlayStation users. It's about the deal they have with Sony. And that applies to pretty much any game.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, if you like a month or 2, I give it. But
well, and that's what, like, in all honesty, thinking about buying the game, I'd probably get it on PlayStation, because I've heard that there's a feature, like, so one of the things is unlocked, like the Spec Ops or something. There's a mode in there.
There is. I forgot about that.
That is going to be limited for a year for Xbox, which is on Call of Duty is ridiculous because it's an annualized franchise. Right. It comes out every year. There's something new.
Yeah. So by the time,
so I'm like, who's going to be now? People will probably play it past a little bit, its life cycle, but still, like, who's going to be on at that point? And like, people, that'll be a forgotten mode at that point.
Black Ops 5 will be out or something.
Exactly. And so it's kind of that irks me a little bit because, like you said, a month or 2. Okay, you know what? Sony probably ponied up, gave them, Activision some cash and said, hey, we want to kind of keep this exclusive to us for a little while, but for a year, that seems extreme.
A little bit.
Most of the time, I'm like, hey, that's just the way that it goes, but certain things like that irks me a little bit.
The Medieval reboot, redo, remaster, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's a remaster.
Yeah, I think so. It's not a reboot.
Yeah, it's not a reboot. They released that. That was also released last week.
Yeah.
Then the other big one, wow, I can smell that pomegranate. Grapefruit.
Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. Like, the second you opened that, I was like, oh, there it is.
Yep.
Was The Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
So.
Which I did play.
Which you did play. So what did you think of the little bit you did play?
It was good. I was like in the little bit, like, and I literally probably played 30 minutes and hopped in and made my character, but I made it very quickly and kind of moved through. And I was like, I haven't played one of these first-person shooter RPGs in a long time in the style of like Fallout and some of the other games. But just some of the little things made me snicker. Like there's little humor in there. And I don't know how you developed or created your character, but I like to be sneaky and I like to be able to pick locks and I like to be able to like persuade people by what I say. That's like where most of my perks were. Is I'm like, I want to be able to like persuade people, and I want to be able to pick locks if I need to, and I want to be sneaky.
Yeah, my first 2 or 3 forced conversations were I used all of my persuasive skills to get past them. What was really funny was I think it was my nephew Dave said, so, that's what you made your character look like? Oh, yeah. I was like, yeah. And he goes, how deep's the customization on the character? I was like, it's actually fairly intensive of what you can do. And I'll be honest, after about 2 minutes, I went, nope, random. I sat there and I kept pushing random until I got one I liked. And then I just made some edits.
That's what I kind of looked and I was like, okay, there's way too many sliders in this. Randomize. And then I saw a guy with a big mustache and wavy hair. And I'm like, we're good.
Right. Yeah. That was, that's kind of where I was. I was like, man, I don't need to lift that one cheek in this direction by 2 millimeters. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. I saw a saying once that's like, your character creator should only be like 10 minutes long and no more than that.
Right.
And I was like, yeah. I do not care enough. Now I have friends that would, love stuff like that. Shout out to Brent. He's like big into the customization thing and loves messing with all that. And he makes amazing, incredible things. Back in the day when Nintendo 64 had like the WWE versus like Raw and all that stuff.
Right.
So little sidebar here. We had a wrestling federation when I was in high school. It was called BWF, Brent's Wrestling Federation. We all had like, we'd go out shoot in my dad's barn. We had like hay bale ring and stuff like that, but we all had personas and stuff that we came up with. Ridiculous. He, in these games, would go through and customize and create all of us and go through and make all the finisher. And I mean, basically, you looked exactly like who you were. I mean, the finishers were like hit or miss depending on what it was, but I mean, it was pretty good.
Right.
And it was pretty amazing. It was so much fun to go and be like, my character was Mr. Bad. I'd be like, I'm playing as Mr. Bad, and all the stuff he does seemed very like, yep, that's what I would do. So, yeah.
I think I've wasted more time in every wrestling game I've ever owned doing the character creator than I have anything else.
Well, and that makes sense because it's like, especially if you like wrestling,
right?
Which I wasn't as big a fan, but my friends were, and so that's how I kind of got into it. But like, once you get into those games and you can create like, hey, if you like wrestling and this is what you're into, create your character. There's a lot more persona to it, I think.
Right. And I have my buddy Ryan. Ryan, shout out if you're listening. Doubt it, but whatever.
He will be.
He's also one of those, like, he will spend more time doing a character creator than he does playing a game. Yeah. And I can do it to an extent. I just, like, when you get to, like, this one where you've got the minuscule pieces that you're pushing out.
Right.
I can't do. I can, like, form a basic jawline. Like, give me slider for that. And, like, maybe eyebrow height and that kind of stuff. But, man, once you start getting into the little aspects, like...
Male or female?
I typically play as a female character.
Do you?
And a friend of mine made a very good point a long time ago. If you're going to be sitting there playing a game for several hours, do you want to stare at a guy or a girl? Yeah. Personally, a woman.
I know. That's what I've heard a lot of people say.
Having said that, I created a guy character.
Did you? Okay.
I was
created
just
a
like...
guy as well.
I was like back and forth. But see, then when you hit the random button, it swaps between them.
Oh, and gosh, so I guess I don't know what I am, but I have a mustache. So.
Well, right, no, it'll if
Could
you actually
be a very masculine female.
It can be because there was one that I thought was a guy because it had facial hair, and when I flipped to it, I was like, oh, that says female. Click.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm not sure what my character is.
There you go. But
have fun with them. Or her.
Them.
Or they.
Them.
Yeah.
But no, I ended up, I think I played 3 or 4 hours worth over the weekend.
Gotcha.
And what was funny was I started off the weekend Call of Duty heavy. And then I kind of migrated over.
Well, what did you think? What have you thought of it so far?
It's what I wanted Fallout 4 to be.
Yeah.
Just, a couple hours in, I'm like, yeah, this is what I would have preferred Fallout 4 to be. But, which is funny because even then, I'm not a big Fallout guy. Like, I like Skyrim. I like the Elder Scrolls games because I think, like, books, the entertainment I take in, I am more of a fantasy guy.
Yeah.
The bow and arrow, the sword, the lock picking, just, that whole aspect. But, so, like, Fallout has gotten to a point where it's just too much. Like, the shooting off limbs for no reason, which I will say, my first fight in
Outer Worlds.
In Outer Worlds,
Yeah.
I had a sword.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to get this guy. Holy crap, all of his body parts just fell off. I was not expecting that. But it wasn't like blood spray. Yeah. It was just, and it does have a cartoonish look to it.
Absolutely.
So I was like, okay, there's that. That's interesting. Yeah. But I don't know. It's not over the top. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are also comparing it to a Star Wars game that I never played, Fallen Order, maybe.
I never played that either.
So but I am enjoying it enough, and now I've gotten a couple companions. Mm-hmm. So it's like every other RPG. It's a whole bunch of fetch missions, and semi-dungeon missions. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. It actually felt more. It felt more D&D than Fallout because, like, it was like charisma. Like it tells you intelligence, charisma. Like I'm like, oh, I got to roll for charisma. Okay, here we go. Like that's what I was thinking. But no, I'm liking it to where I actually got home from work today and I came down and kind of prepped what I was doing down here. Went upstairs and my youngest was I was playing Minecraft or something, and I was like, he's quiet, he's fun, he's homework son, he's good. I'd really like to play Outer Worlds, but whatever.
Well, and if the personality seems like it's pretty good so far.
Yes.
And the writing, I was like, I've enjoyed it so far, and the brief amount of time that I've played it, I'm like, okay, if this continues to hit this level, I would play it and enjoy it.
And another good thing about it, and something I know you'll attest to, neither one of us paid for it. Because
we paid for it in a way.
Well, in a way. I have been super impressed with Game Pass on the Xbox.
I agree.
So I knew Outer Worlds wasn't an exclusive to Microsoft game. So when I saw it was on Game Pass day one, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, and that's really the main reason I'm playing it, which is also on Game Pass on PC.
Yeah.
Which, after the fact, like right before you showed up, it hit me. I have Ultimate Game Pass. I could probably just download it on my PC and just save my thing and play it over there. But
which Microsoft has hit the mark with Game Pass. They definitely they have continued to surprise me with the games that they add to it. And I have tried multiple games that I probably would have spent, $30, $15 here or there on a sale. And the fact that, $10 a month, so $120 for a year. And I'm like, man, I'm getting these games and trying them out and being like, I'm glad I just used it for a little while.
Right.
Instead of, bought the game outright and then I never played it again.
Right.
And I've enjoyed it greatly.
There's a game on there called Astroneer, who we downloaded because my youngest is obsessed with space stuff.
Oh, perfect game.
But we started doing it, and I know the game was released on PC first, and I think you can tell because as you play it, I feel like there's several quirks where you're like, this is totally ported to console and not meant for
controllers.
He started to he was like, okay, but then some of the controls just started acting funny on him. To where I was like, do you want Daddy to do it? And he was like, yeah. And I started doing it, and then I was like, why is this doing this like this? This is not meant to do this.
Yeah, I popped that open. I downloaded it because it was on Game Pass, and just dug a big hole in the ground.
Right, and that's.
And I was like, hey, this is what I wanted to do.
The most of what I did. Yeah. I got agitated the most at the fact that, so in any normal game, you left stick moves, right stick view.
Yeah.
So the problem is if it has a cursor. Mm-hmm. So if you move the right stick all the way to the corner, it'll keep spinning. Even if you take your thumb off of the joystick. If the cursor is on the side of the screen, just keeps spinning. I didn't experience that. We did, and it frustrated both me and my youngest.
Mine functioned like a normal controller, so I wonder if there's a setting.
Yeah, I don't. If there is, I would like to know because then I'll re-download it and go after it again. So that was last week's 3 big games. There's only really 2 games coming out this week that I thought were newsworthy of. We'll start with Luigi Mansion because it's massive. 3.
Luigi's Mansion 3.
That comes out October 31st. You said you played the first one, right?
I played the very first one, and it is charming as hell.
Yeah?
Like just almost any Nintendo game.
Kid-friendly, I assume, then?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Everything Nintendo.
One of those I actually questioned, possibly picking up, just because, Nintendo just has a way of games, and, I never have to worry about my kids playing them, which is always nice, because my son and I He really likes to play games, and him and I connect with that, and I could see that being a game that we'd enjoy together.
And I imagine there's not if you didn't play the first two, you can't play the third one. I mean, it is Nintendo.
And it is Luigi.
It is Luigi. Yeah, I've been trying to contemplate that one. I might pick that one up. Maybe Christmas or something.
Yeah.
And then speaking of Game Pass, because it's also going to be on Game Pass 1, and also a game we're going to talk about later is made by the same people. After Party comes out on the 29th, which is what we determined Wednesday.
The 29th is tomorrow.
Oh, so it comes out tomorrow. Even a better day.
Yeah.
Sweet. After Party, if you don't know, is made by the people who made Oxenfree. You're supposed to outdrink the devil.
Yeah.
It's a story-based game. It's a quick time story-based game. It's about the best way you can put it. You just button pressing. You're not really fighting anybody. It's a side scroller. Well, I don't know. This one might be a little bit different. At least that's how Oxenfree is.
I never played Oxenfree, so
which
probably know a little more.
Which you should.
How that functions.
If you've never played Oxenfree, it is a game you'll like. It's one of those games where it'll keep you entertained.
Yeah.
And invested to where you want to know what happens next.
How long is it?
I bet if you actually sat and just played through it, less than 10 hours.
Okay.
The problem is, it is one game that, and it finishes it, you'll play it again.
You want to see it again?
And because it changes every time you play it. Okay. And then I think I'm on my 4th or 5th playthrough of Oxenfree.
Yeah.
And there's still new things that are happening as I play through it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's very good game. So which makes me super excited for After Party. And the fact that it's going to be on Xbox Game Pass day one.
I know. You can't beat that.
I really can't.
You're like, is this a download? Well, absolutely.
Yes.
No question about it.
No, but see, here's the thing, though. Because I've already played Oxenfree, I was planning on buying After Party anyways. And right. I'm going to imagine After Party is going to be like Oxenfree, where it's probably going to be in the $30 to $40 range. I would imagine. Obviously, don't quote me on that and get all pissed when I have to do it on this podcast.
It's too late.
It's free for you, bro. But no, I'm really, really looking forward to After Party. So how does Game Pass update? So is that going to be like live at midnight? Because
yeah, probably so. I mean, it may.
They go to bed early and get up. Oh, I have to take my kid to school in the morning. Never mind.
Dang work.
Those are.
It's only $19.99.
Is it $19.99? Yeah, it's a short game, but I imagine if it has the replayability as the other one, as Oxenfree, then it's totally worth the $20.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the big releases for this week. Yeah.
I mean, Call of Duty's in there.
Yeah, so. But Call of Duty. Well, see, here's the thing: Call of Duty and Outer Worlds are going to get a lot of people playing for the next foreseeable future. Especially with holidays right around the season. Those are going to be the two games everybody's going to want to at least Call of Duty is. It usually breaks, which is something that I found very interesting. Typically, every Call of Duty release for the last 4 or 5 years has broken its own record. Mm-hmm. They didn't say a damn thing about that I'm aware of this past week. I don't know if that has anything to do with the game itself or if it's just the current market for those type of games.
I don't know. It is kind of weird because they usually tout pretty well that oh my gosh, this is the biggest release, and they spin it somehow, whatever makes it the biggest. But
yeah,
I haven't heard much. But
I'm gonna have to look that up later. Maybe talk about that next week. So,
good.
So news stories for this week. Last week was delay central for a lot of big games. Mm-hmm. Just off the bat, probably the biggest one is The Last of Us 2 was delayed from February to May 29, 2020. Doom Eternal, which was supposed to release next month.
Yeah. Before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, March 20th, 2020. Yep. Ubisoft also, I guess also this week, Ubisoft has flat out said that both Ghost Recon and Division 2 for them were kind of failures.
I didn't know about Division 2.
Well,
I had heard that about.
I think it's their
Breakpoint.
Yeah, Breakpoint. I think I think Breakpoint didn't get that great of reviews anyways. Yeah. If you played Wildlands, there's a lot of... The game really isn't fun unless you're playing with people. Yeah. It's just not. And it's one of those... If you can't get a good, solid group of people in, at least this was my experience with Wildlands, you're probably not going to have a lot of fun with
Well, and tell me of like this, because you played Wildlands.
Right.
But I've not played either. But one of the things I did hear with Breakpoint is that it was a little bit more in the realm of that, where Ubisoft is taking a lot of their games of kind of like a level-gated loot shooter, like you're collecting stuff like that. Where was Wildlands, was it just like you jump in and go?
Just jump in and go.
And so like a headshot was a headshot. Like
right.
Body shot, people weren't taking enormous amounts of ammo.
I will say they did a little bit because they had tiered and leveled areas.
In
Wildlands.
Okay.
So obviously the easier missions.
But anybody that was like quickly. A spongy type.
There were a couple, but not to an extreme like there is now a lot of days.
Well, and that's what I haven't played, Breakpoint, but that's what I've heard is that it's one of those where you're collecting better gear to go into the thing. So it's like it could be one of those,
right? Which is what
shooting
Division
somebody,
is.
And it's like you're not doing any damage because their level is so much higher, which is kind of ridiculous. Like
right.
I feel like Ubisoft. I like them. They make a lot of games that I play. Rainbow Six is the one that I've been playing forever, and it's awesome. But they don't need to do this to every single game.
Right.
They don't need to level gate stuff.
See, and I would even say Division 2 is actually really good at it, and Division series is really good at it. But they go off the rails for me personally when they get into trying to take that concept and move it to everything. Yeah. So, which I think the bigger reason that probably Division 2 was more of a failure to them personally is the keeping players playing the game. Mm-hmm. It's the end game, that's what they call it, that keeps them in. Because you could put a lot of hours into the mission, and that's another thing. I think me personally, like, if you put 20 hours into a game, and then you're disappointed in the end game, I can understand that you can be disappointed in the game, but you just put 20 hours into a game willingly. Like, what's your problem? It was still good. Could they have done more? Yes, but the biggest problem is because they promised they would do more. Yeah. And I think that's where most of these companies with Destiny 2, Division, and it's...
Well, and that's the question with all these games that are coming out now, that they're like, everybody says the game as a service, and they want the eternal game that you're always playing forever.
Right.
Not every game can be that. Like, that's the thing, is that, like, people have to realize that sometimes it's good to just tell a good story and then have it end and be the end of it. Like talking about kind of little jump segue to like the delays and stuff, like Naughty Dog, they can do whatever they want because they have made consistently good games, sometimes just single story or single player, sometimes with multiplayer in them too. But like their single player is so good and the story's so good. Like I would say Uncharted 4, gosh, I don't know how long it's been since they released that. 3 years ago. That was fantastic.
It was very good.
Fantastic game, fantastic writing. I felt closure with every single character that I was introduced to and enjoyed it, and I was just like, I don't need any more. And I'm happy. I bought that game and I was like, I'm happy I bought it. I played through it, and that can stay on my shelf. Yep. And I've got no problem with that whatsoever.
Now, having said that, did you see that the director of Uncharted made a comment that maybe in the PS5 era he'd like to make another Uncharted game?
But I'm okay with that too, because there'll have been enough time between that to let it stew. And I mean, I think ultimately too, when you look at the developers like Naughty Dog, like they're something special. Yeah. And if they think they've got a story, it's kind of like, now I'm just going to say that like people trusting Pixar with like bringing stories, relevant, like we're not going to do it just for a cash grab. There's no reason to. But if they
unless it's Cars.
Unless it's Cars, yeah, or something like
that. That's the pure... Now, I will say, having said that, I liked the first Cars.
I did too.
The second one could have never existed.
I agree.
And I enjoyed the third Cars.
And the third Cars, I kept falling asleep for myself. And I would say I feel like Toy Story 4 was a cash grab, and I did not like it at all. That was me personally.
I enjoyed Toy Story 4, but I will agree, I think it was a cash grab. Yep. But if you take the grand scheme of everything Pixar has made... Yes. Like, even their most horrible movie, The Good Dinosaur, in my opinion. Like,
I think a lot of people would agree with you. I've not even seen it, but I think a lot of people would
I would love for you to watch that movie just so that I can see if you have the same opinion. Talk about it. But even like you take Pixar and 9 times out of 10, you just go, oh, it's going to be good. So like I think like Naughty Dog has that. Like they they delayed the first Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And it was like people were kind of like, man, maybe the game's in trouble. And then the game came out and I was like, I don't know what they needed those 3 or 4 months for, but I'm glad they took it. And then they delayed Uncharted too. Yeah. And it's still, I'm like, I've gotten to where I'm okay with delays.
Yeah.
Like, because it tells me you want to put out the best. You don't want to release a product that comes with a day one 50 gigabyte patch.
Right.
Because.
And it's the right thing to do for your game.
Right.
And you're not having people in the background, adjusting or, kind of being like, well, this would be better if that. It's like, no, like ultimately your game's going to be better for those delays. Right. And there's, very few publishers out there, developers that I'd be like, I trust them, like whatever they're putting out, I'll be like, yeah, take your time as long as it takes. Great, I'll play it. I don't know, I can't remember who. Oh man, it's Santa Monica. Is that the God of War people?
Yes. Yeah, they delayed God of War too. Like,
and that's the thing. Like God of War, the God of War on PS4, I'm just like, it was phenomenal. Probably one of the best games I've ever played in my life. And I'm like, they can take as long as they want on that second one.
Yeah, they can. And and I think the reputation you build from the last game goes into it. So among the list of Ubisoft games that have been delayed, Watch Dogs Legion, which the second Watch Dog, did you play it or the first two?
No.
The first one was passable. I beat it and I was done. Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, these are the type of games where I love any game with a collectible is bad news for me. It's also bad news for my wife. I was playing Gears of War and I was like, oh, you could collect posters?
Yeah.
Shit. But especially the way they make their games, like with Assassin's Creed and all that.
Yeah.
But Watch Dogs 2 was like, I was halfway through that game and I'm like, I'm going to 100% this game. Yeah. I played it on the PS4, so I was like, I need to platinum this game.
Yeah.
And I did. And it was totally worth it. Now, Watch Dogs Legion is one of those games where they're promising a lot.
Oh, heck yes.
And if they don't hit it, they're in a lot of trouble. And that's coming off of the success of Watch Dogs 2. Also, how long has Rainbow Six Siege been around?
Let me look that up.
I feel like it has to have been at least 5 years.
Oh, I don't know. You're probably pretty close.
But one of the games they delayed was Rainbow Six Quarantine. And I think they probably hit a point where they were like... It was
released in 2015. December 1st,
so 4 years. Yeah. Almost 4 years. So I think because of what they've set with Siege, and I think that's one of the reasons they probably moved Quarantine.
Yeah. But
what's nuts is the Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Watch Dogs were all delayed to the fiscal 2020-2021 year. It's not even they just delayed it a couple months. They pushed it towards the end of the next year.
We're also getting to that sketchy time, though, where new consoles are going to be released next year. And everybody knows it. PS5's coming out. Xbox, codenamed Scarlet, whatever's going to be released over the holiday season of 2020.
That better be a good name.
I don't know. I'm agreeing with like a lot of the hubbub online that Xbox Infinite is probably one of the contenders. And I think I would be like, yeah, that'd be a good name to kind of to hit with and everything. It sucks that they just didn't go with numbers, but whatever.
How disappointed were you when it was Xbox One?
I wasn't disappointed. It was just one of those naming conventions that it just seemed confusing a little bit. And for, you and I and the other people, people listening to this, not, you're like, yeah, I can figure it out. But I'm like, man, for parents that don't know what they're doing, and they're like, you want the Xbox One? And I mean, granted,
and they're thinking they might go look for the original Xbox.
But like, good luck finding an original Xbox out unless you go to a GameStop or something where somebody's going to be like, yeah. But hopefully, the people there will say, no, you want this, versus that. But it just was an odd naming convention. Yeah, for sure.
The which so PS4, PS, PS2,
and they're just going to stick with numbers,
and that's fine. They actually, and I read today, and I wish I saw the article up in Japan. They copyrighted up to PS10 this week. They were just like, let's just make sure that nothing stupid happens. Yeah. And part of the reason I now bring that up is because, speaking of stupid,
here we go.
Fallout 76.
Oh my, yeah.
So,
could that game do anything correct?
They were on a roll. They had like gotten some goodwill back a little bit, and then they come out with this subscription thing.
No, I'm not even gonna call this goodwill. This is Stockholm syndrome at this point.
Yeah.
Like, because people that are playing the game, I honestly think they're just like, we've bought it, we're gonna try to make the best out of it, and then they're like, we love it, it's amazing. No, you're crazy. You just bought into the fervor of it whenever it was being talked about, but they screwed you big time.
Yeah. So, No Man's Sky. I bought No Man's Sky day one. I actually enjoyed it.
But that wasn't a full price game either.
Yeah, it was. When it first came out. When it first came out, it was.
All right.
Now, I will say.
I won't fact check that.
My issue with. I get why people were upset when No Man's Sky came out. You show a couple trailers at E3 of real life dinosaurs like walking around. You open the game and you play it, and you're like, what kind of. Remember the game EA Spore? Yeah. And they just kind of morphed into these weird shaped animals.
Did you see the little meme or the video that was going around of the Jurassic Park with the harmonica?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Spore. Or not Spore. No Man's Sky.
Yeah. But what they
great.
But what they did, I give them all the credit in the world.
Yes.
They were like, we're gonna hunker down and we're sticking to this game. And they have made that game. If that game were released day one the way it is now, it would have gotten 9s, 8s and 9s across the board.
Well, and the problem is that PlayStation doesn't have like a beta type service whatsoever. And so had they released it as like a beta, as Xbox has that like kind of built in, like, hey, you can buy into this beta and we'll be updating it throughout the time. I think there would have been a lot more goodwill saved.
Right.
Had they had a service to kind of put the game onto.
Another thing on that is that's also a shot at the exclusivity thing, because No Man's Sky is on everything. Yeah. But their whole deal was, we're launching, everything's PlayStation, this is the whole thing. They didn't have a broad enough base of gamers to just, because it was such a big thing. But they stayed at it, they worked at it, they made the game great. Whereas
respect
Bethesda and the people running Fallout 76. So it's $100 for a year subscription.
Bend over, we're gonna fuck you more.
Right. So it's $100 a year, or like $15 a month for shit that doesn't even matter. To have your own world that you don't have to worry about other players. Yeah. It's ridiculous. But one of the best things, the most hilarious things that came out of this was, so the name of it is Fallout First. Yeah. Bethesda did not copy or did not buy the domain. Did you see this? No. Domain. They did not buy the domain, and I'm wondering if I could pull it up on my laptop here real quick. Some gamers got together.
They didn't think about that. Huh?
No, they really didn't. And
see, and that's what makes me feel like this is like their model. Like, they're not planning anything. They're just like, we need to make money. You know, Doom. So Bethesda owns Doom Eternal, right? Or Doom, and so that has been pushed, and so now it's like, I'm sure they're like, we need the money.
Yeah, my stupid internet down here isn't working. But basically, it says Fallout First logo at the top. But then like somebody scribbled in, fuck you. Fallout, fuck you first. Yeah. And then they went through and they actually highlight everything you get in the game. Yeah. But they do it with such sarcasm and just all, here at Fallout, we want to fuck you first. Right, exactly. And here's all this stuff. And it was hilarious. I don't know if, because I know those big companies have the ability to buy it out. Like, no, we're going to give you all the money in the world. You're going to give us the thing back. But
he's having fun with it right now.
Oh, he had so much. I loved it. I just thought it was hilarious. Because I'm just kind of like, how do you? First of all, if you're going to release something like this, no matter how stupid or great it is,
it just doesn't sound like it was prepared. No, it was half baked.
It was. It really, really, really was. But
that reminds me of my friends. Whenever little anecdote. Back in the day, they bought like Wave Race for like maybe the GameCube or something back in the day, and I guess they bought it and they were like pretty disappointed with it. So they went and made like their instruction booklet, and one of the things was like a guy that was like win, and he was standing up with a big old like dong, and then the loser was bent over.
Nice.
Just made me think of that with like, Fallout 76. I'm like, man, could they screw this up more?
Well, see, I was thinking I was reading. I think for the last 2 or 3 months, there's been rumors. So they're going to announce this week, which next week we'll talk about, and first of every month, what the new games are on Xbox Gold Plus.
Yeah.
Getting cold in here with the windows open.
A little bit. I'm okay. But...
The new games on Xbox Gold Plus the new games for whatever they released for PlayStation Plus. There's been rumors for like the last 4 months. Every time I look, well, surely they're going to give away Fallout 76 just to get their gamer base up.
Oh man,
I
don't even know if I download that. I'd be like, no, I just can't do it.
What's that one thing that just because you thought too much about if you can that you didn't think about whether you should or something like that?
Yeah, you never question whether you should or not. Like,
yeah. So, but a lot of big name like Doom Eternal and Last of Us 2, and I would say.
Now let me ask you this real quick. Did you play the first Doom?
Yes.
Or not the first, but like
the newer reboot.
The newer reboot.
I did.
Did you like it?
It is what it is, and I say that it is a gore fest, run and gun. If you need that kind of release, it's an amazing game.
Is it? Okay.
And it runs great because they're really good at making that game.
I think it's on Game Pass too.
Is it on Game Pass?
I think it's on Game Pass.
I highly recommend if you're into that. Yeah. Like, and there are times like I need to do something that mindless.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. But it's not something like, I really want to play some Doom right now. Like, I'm in the mood for. Yeah. If I'm in the mood for Doom, I'm probably having a pretty shitty week. That's how I work.
Makes you feel like super powerful.
Oh, right. It's just absurd. It's also a game I think is probably better played if you're playing with friends and you're just like, let's get together and just blow some crap up. Gotcha. So what did you think of it?
It was fun. I mean, I played just the first demo beginning of it and everything. Right. Me with video games, it's not that obviously I have time off, but I try to get so much stuff done during the day so that at the end of the day, it's usually if I'm playing with friends, I will jump and do, Rainbow Six with friends. Right. And so I don't take a lot of time to play a game that just is me playing it unless it's really the God of War or something really huge. But I had fun. I mean, it was very quick, like you said.
Yeah.
Very wow, okay, this is in your face. This is metal as hell.
I remember during the E3, I was talking with a group of friends about it, and there's this. Yeah. It's really funny because you can tell the difference between the two females that were part of the conversation. One of them was like, "Doom looks amazing. I can't wait to," and the other one's like, "This was totally made for teenage boys." Which it probably was, and I'm fine with that because that's a good market to corner, and I'm okay with it.
Because all those teenage boys that played it back in the day have grown up.
Oh yes, they have, because that's exactly
demographic now.
Speaking of which, if you want to make a game from when I was a teenager, I would love for an actual legit reboot of Duke Nukem.
Hold your breath on that.
I know. It took him forever to get. What was it? Forever? Was that the
Probably
Duke Nukem Forever out?
And then it wasn't. It was so.
Yeah, it was. It really was, which was so depressing to me.
But it had been forever, so.
But yeah, so another one of the other two other stories that we got for the big news for this week. Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima confirmed that it was going to be released on PC. Yeah, he sent a tweet that said, "Thank you all of you who have been supporting Death Stranding. It releases on the PS4 November 8th. Holy crap! That's next week.
Yeah. Oh, it's coming out. That's actually one of my buddies and I, we have a Super Bowl bet every year, and it's just a game. It's just a game. We just choose a team, and the loser gets to pick which team they want, and then whoever wins gets a video game. And
this is Brent.
Yep, and that's his choice is Death Stranding. So, and I just saw a video. He actually sent me a video of Conan O'Brien is a character in the game.
Oh, he is?
Not a playable character, but he is a
NPC,
as you would say, non-playable character, to give you an item that you need to forage and water with. I'll leave it at that.
Oh man!
But this is the game I'm gonna have to buy for him.
Man, I totally forgot that I didn't realize it was that close.
And man, Hideo Kojima is one crazy mofo.
See, and I've always loved the Metal Gear games, but at the same time, this isn't anything like Metal Gear.
To be honest, I don't even know what to think about it.
I don't.
Well, I love the first one because it was just such a different experience, like Metal Gear.
All right, I'm getting cold too, so you have a hoodie on. I don't. Go ahead.
Yeah, second one was good. I mean, I played pretty much most every single one of them. The only one I have not beat actually is the fifth one, and it was because it is huge.
I played it, a lot of it. Yeah. I did not beat it because it was it's enormous. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, you just have the first opening map.
I did have some of the coolest experiences ever playing that game. I remember, one of the things that I would think, like, when I was younger, I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you could do this in a video game? And I remember one of the things is you can hide in a cardboard box, as Snake or whatever character you're playing as. And I had put C4 around the map in different places. And a guard had saw the box and was coming over to investigate. And I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can blow my C4 to distract him. So I blew one, and he kind of turned and was starting to go towards it, and then came back to the box, and I blew the other one, and he started walking, left me alone, and I was like, I cannot believe this worked.
Right.
It's just being like, that is crazy that the programming in this game is crazy enough to allow me to have just done what I did.
I think Monica laughed at me several times every time I play one of those games because I get in those intense situations. I'm like, please don't this work. This is gonna work. This is gonna work. Oh, damn it, it didn't work. Or, holy crap, that worked.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. When stuff like that works, you're just like, I did not think that was humanly possible for a game to know that much or to anticipate this is what I might do. Right. But he's special. Hideo Kojima has that.
I want the game to succeed for no other reason than because of the way he was pushed out of Konami and all the crap that went down there. I want him to be able to go, look, I can do this myself without you. I don't need your help with it. Also, I just hope it succeeds because it's such a screwed up looking game. I want it to be good because I don't want to play bad game. Yeah. And it'll kill me if it comes out and goes, this 3 or 4 out of 5. You can't play this game. And so
I would prefer. It does look about the craziest thing I've ever seen.
So the rest of the tweet was releases November 8th. Furthermore, Kojima Productions is happy to announce that Death Stranding will be coming to PC in early summer 2020, which there was a lot of talk on whether it was going to stay a PS4 exclusive. So it's coming to PC, which then makes me wonder if maybe then in another 6 months it'll just trickle down to the Switch, right? Surely that game will be able to be playable on the Switch.
Hey, why not? The Witcher 3's on Switch now.
Dude,
surely carrying boxes across the country can hold up on the Switch.
Surely.
We'll see.
And then the last piece of news, real quick. I keep saying real quick. I'll get over that. Well, it's good to talk about this a little bit more on the Real Superhero Project, but you got to bring it up. Joker is almost at $1 billion.
Good job.
I can't.
Well done.
I agree.
DC, you're doing something different, and it's working.
It is. I don't know what they're gonna do in terms of a sequel. If they're going to, I know they was like, oh, we're not doing a sequel, but
they have to.
They have to do something. I don't care what it is. I don't even care if it's not even Joker. Take the same everything you just did, and devote it to another villain. And I feel like it needs to be a villain. Make it a think piece like this was. Yeah. Or an super totally obscure.
Who would you want to see? Out of curiosity.
As a villain?
Yeah. DC. Who would you want to see? And let me put this caveat on it too. What director? And it was Todd Phillips that did Joker, right?
Yes, it was Todd Phillips that did Joker.
He previously had done the Hangover movies.
Yeah, which
those are the big things.
I can't connect, having seen the Joker. Yeah. Minus the scene with the lock on the door and the little person, I can't connect in my head. Spoilers, which is you'll get there.
There's a little person.
I can't connect the man that made Hangover to these movies. It just doesn't. This movie. I think if you're gonna do it, stick with the biggest couple first. So you did Joker. Okay. So do Lex Luthor. Do a coming of age maybe Lex Luthor. Okay.
Who do you want to direct it?
This might sound weird.
No.
Ron Howard. I think. Wait. Who directed Rogue One?
Not Ron Howard.
No, Ron Howard directed.
Ron Howard directed Solo.
Solo, which I haven't seen Solo. Whoever directed Rogue One. Huh. Pull your phone out. You have a better connection down here.
I'll let's look at that real quick.
Yeah, I would. I think I'd go with Ron Howard. Somebody that you don't think could probably or wouldn't, if not, still Ron Howard, because I do like him as a director.
Gareth Edwards.
I don't know who that is.
He's an English film director.
Or, man, I don't know. Who would you go with?
Like what character?
Character and director.
Oh man.
Character and director. I don't care.
Be thrown back. Let me see.
You should have known. I mean, you brought it up.
I know. I should have known better. As far as DC goes, gosh dang.
Who directed Casino Royale? Because wasn't that the first Daniel Craig James Bond movie?
Yeah, that was the first Daniel Craig. I'm not sure who that was though. Let me look here. Well, I think about the Martin Campbell. So, in my mind, I kind of would like an obscure character, somebody that you don't see as often, because I feel like that's kind of been the thing is you've seen these characters so many times and different things. So I'm thinking somebody like, this is just, I'm throwing it out because it's kind of stuck in my head, like Firefly, maybe like Man-Bat, something like.
Ooh, that'd be an interesting.
Right, do something that's like Clayface. Oh my gosh, maybe that's who I'd want to say. Like, give me like a Clayface, and give me like a horror director. Give me
Well, you already got James Wan.
Yeah.
Plus the guy that did Sandberg, the guy that did Shazam, he's a horror director too.
Give me like somebody like that, or even like Sam Raimi.
I was just curious to say, what about Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi, who has shown his chops, like Spider-Man 2 with Doc Ock, like that scene where they're like in the surgery room. Give me somebody that can bring it in, but bring the.
What about Killer Croc with him?
Oh man, Killer Croc, he'd be tough. Because here's my thought with
Scarecrow.
But he came out with like the Batman Begins and stuff like that, and I like Scarecrow. I like the psychological.
I'm right, but I'm going back to the horror thing with.
But I think like a Clayface. Give me somebody that can give me fear without seeing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody that's like scary, but like
Jordan Peele.
Yeah, that actually might not be a bad fit.
I would like to, if you're going to get him do a horror-esque movie.
Yeah.
I would say pick any character.
Right.
And let him see what he can do, just to put a twist on it.
And that's kind of like, I would like to see somebody a little bit, something deeper in the mythos of the DC universe.
Right.
Somebody that for me personally, that I'm like, I just don't feel like we see as much of. Would that have as much appeal? Would it get as much fervor as like some of the other big names? Probably not. I think that's one of the reasons this Joker's been so successful, because everybody's been like, we want a Joker movie, we want a Joker movie. But I'm like, I would love to see something that just surprised me.
Yeah.
Something that I'm like, oh man, I never thought they'd make this type of movie. And then they did.
Yeah. I'm going to have to think about more of that.
Yeah.
Because that's interesting. Joker beat out Deadpool 2, which was sitting at $785 million, and which had a much larger budget than Joker. Joker's budget was $55 million, and it's currently sitting at $851 million. So $800 million is literally made $800 million, and I kind of want it to get to 1 million or 1 billion 55.
You gotta put your pinky up. 1 billion.
1 billion.
Yeah, exactly.
Just so that I can say it legit made $1 billion. Not it grossed, but it legit made $1 billion.
Yeah. Which is why I think they can't leave that on the table. They can't.
Right.
They've got to do something with it. And Warner Brothers is probably like, what do we do?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give you the top 10 R-rated movies gross-wise, and so the top 4. So Joker is at 851. Deadpool is 780. Deadpool 2 is 785. Deadpool first one is 782. Matrix Reloaded is at 4 with 742. The first reboot of It from 2017 is at 700.
It's hard to keep it straight.
I know, right? Wait, for the original?
Yeah.
Logan, which I'll be honest, I was not that impressed by.
I would agree with you.
Is 619. Passion of the Christ at 611. I keep forgetting that's an R-rated movie.
I know, but it's not like
it was also 2004. So 2004 R-rated.
That's probably pretty dang good.
It's probably right.
Holy crap!
Because that's not inflation. That's what it was in 2004. Because all the other movies, Matrix Reloaded was in 2003. So all the other movies were in the last 3 years that were in the top. There. Hangover We go from The Passion of the Christ at 6:11 to The Hangover Part 2 at 5:86, which was also directed by Todd Phillips. Yeah. 50 Shades of Grey was at number 9. Don't know why or how. 571. And then a movie that I've never seen, but I've always kind of wanted to secretly see, Ted, at 554. Did you see Ted?
No, never saw Ted.
It's one of those things. I'm not a big Seth MacFarlane fan. He does good work sometimes. I just can't.
Yeah, I understand that.
So those are the top 10 R-rated, which is so weird because I feel like there's been many R-rated movies that I really liked, but the fact that they didn't make this kind of money is ridiculous.
Well, and I think we are hitting that point again where the general public that is more into this culture is now able to spend money and of age to go see R-rated movies. You know what I mean? So we're speaking with our wallets and saying, we want this adult content for us. Right. Whereas before, it was like, well, we couldn't afford to go see these R-rated movies, and they wouldn't let us in. So,
so that's my major news for the week. This will also streamline a little more the more we do this. So.
Oh, heck yeah.
So now, topic of the week. Oh, real quick, I'm gonna plug the social media thing. What I'm doing real quick so people understand. You can always reach me on any platform at PSA Prez. I use Twitter and Facebook the most. I use Twitter the most. What is your Twitter handle? I keep forgetting.
I am at Sam M. Spangler.
Then I'm also, like I said, I posted on. I didn't check it, but I don't think it did because I didn't get any notifications. You go to the Facebook page. It's part of the Pizza and Cookies Network, which is something I'm working on. It's convoluted. I'll explain it some other time. But it's also going to have a Twitter handle. Twitter handle that's PNC Network is going to be the Twitter handle that'll be on. Or follow us on Facebook at PNC Network also. But you just search Pizza and Cookies and it's on there. So anytime there's updates, it'll be on those things. There is an RSS feed on pizzaandcookies.com for this podcast. So if you just want to, if you have, I think there's different podcast grabbers out there. All you have to do is input an RSS feed and it'll stick it on there. Interact with us too, because like I posted this morning that, hey, this is what we're talking about tonight. If you have questions or want to say anything, and I posted it on Twitter too. Talk to us. We'll reply. I'll do a mailbag segment.
Yeah, absolutely. We'd be more than happy to.
Sam, what's your favorite Snapple flavor?
Peach.
Peach? I like their apple. Like it weirdly
Never
tastes.
had apple.
It weirdly tastes like you're taking a bite out of an apple, a Macintosh apple. Just there it is. It's weird.
That is weird. There was a gum back in the day that was apple pie. It was like the best gum I'd ever had in my life, and I've never been able to find it since. It literally tasted like you were eating apple pie.
If you listen to this and you know what this gum is, let us know.
Yeah. It was like maybe 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So I think it was too good and they took it off the shelves. Nobody's going to buy apple pie anymore.
We can't do this.
I think Wonka must have made it.
Wonka must have made it.
Damn Wonka.
Got all those damn golden tickets.
I know.
So the topic of the show, because this is Halloween week.
Yeah.
Is spooky video games and Halloween memories. Well, this rain's coming down pretty good. Hopefully it's not sleet. Luckily you don't live that far.
No.
So, what is your all-time favorite scary?
So the one I have to go to as far as like all-time scary it's going to have to be Resident Evil 4. And even though I think it released more in like a summertime, and the only reason it's my favorite and I love it so much is because me and my friend Brent were actually playing that game together, and it's a single-player game. But it was so creepy and so spooky that he would bring it over to my house, and we would like take turns playing until we died. So we would play, and then once we died, we were like, "You gotta play!" Like I can't deal with it anymore. The stress of it was too much for me. And Resident Evil 4, it just holds this place where I'm just like, it was so good. It was so good, and that experience of going back and forth and playing it in the middle of the day and being freaked out by it. And I remember just certain enemies in that game.
Is 4 the one with Nemesis? Or was that 3?
The 4th one? No. 4th one was not Nemesis. Okay. I think it was 3 that was Nemesis. 4th one was Leon Kennedy, and he went to go save the president's daughter.
Yes.
And there were characters in that game that I literally was like, I don't want to walk past this person. I don't want to like move past them because they were the way they breathed, the sound that they made. I was like, I don't want to get close to them, and being like, and then once I did, the horrifying things that happened. Oh my god! It scarred me for life. But it was such a good non-Halloween game at that time. But it was like, it was released then, but it was a game that I will always forever hold and be like, that was fantastic.
So it's funny because the game that there's been 2 games that have really gotten me in terms of like unease.
Yeah.
The first one and the biggest one was Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
Because I got that game the day it came out. It was 2 discs.
Yeah.
For the PS2 or PlayStation, the original PlayStation.
Yeah.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it was the original PlayStation back in the day.
Y'all, I'm 37 years old. I don't even know anymore.
It's all right.
I literally was home alone. I got home from school. My mom was out with friends. And she had bowling night. It was storming.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, I'm turning off all the lights. I am the man.
Yeah.
We used to have this pillow that was not quite as big as my love sack I got here, but probably the size of a table.
Yeah.
And I threw it on the floor in front of the television, loaded it up, and let's do this.
Yeah.
And you get through the whole opening segment, and the first time you get in the mansion, and there's just a lot going on. You're like, okay, where do we go? Like, I'm already on edge. It's just going to scare me. That first hallway where the damn arms come shooting through the window, and all you're doing is walking down, because you're all like downrange, like what's happening. I yelped probably like a little
before it was an internet thing.
Right, I yelped, which is just as scary as the actual yelp.
Yeah.
But I was freaked out. Yeah. I was like, oh my god, okay, calm down. I think I probably went another 30 minutes before I said nope, and I stood up and I turned on a light. I'm like, not doing it. And then a little bit went by. I was like, turn on another light. And then before I knew it, my whole living room was just lit up. I just turned on the overheads. I didn't care anymore. And I double checked all the doors were locked, and I sat there. But creeped me out.
Yeah.
Having said that, as I got older, as more of an adult, Silent Hill was another game that just... And I know, judge away. Ghosts and spirits, that kind of stuff really gets to me. Like, it really sparks some stuff for me. So when you get into like some of those creepy rooms where you'd walk in and you'd walk into it again, and there'd just be a little kid standing in the corner. It was an Asperger's. Like, what the? Stop that! I think that's one of the biggest reasons, like, why the Paranormal Activity movies got me.
Yeah.
Because there's few things scarier than a little kid just in a creepy situation.
Right.
Like, I can't count the number of times one of my children has just been standing in my bed, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I was ready to just
punch him right in the face.
Exactly. Silent Hill for me was that type of game as I was older.
Yeah.
So
I understand it. I actually played so on Game Pass, the Blair Witch Project was available, and I was like, I'm going to download it and play it. It had decent reviews and everything as well. And it had moments that were creepy. I actually ended up uninstalling it because I just got in a loop where I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was getting frustrated with it. But I did play it enough that I was like, I mean, it's got like a creepy atmosphere.
It does.
And you're in the woods, in this tangled woods, and living in Missouri, this is like the type of woods that are around us.
It's just behind our yard.
Yeah, exactly. So you're just like, I can relate to what this looks like here. And it, back in the day watching the Blair Witch Project movie, it was like, yeah, that movie was creepy as all get out. And then playing it was like, okay.
That's kind of funny because the other morning, and I don't know if maybe you saw my post on Facebook, there were I woke up at 4 something in the morning to bangs, like huge booms. They weren't loud enough to be full blown explosions, but I
saw your post.
But they were too loud to be gunshots. And between, I think it was 4:30 and 5:15, there were like 5 of them, and they were loud. And at one point, I went up to my back door, and I opened my back door. No lights on in my backyard. And also, to set the view up from my back door, we have a fairly large yard, we have a fence around, a metal fence, and then a creek. Because it's not a creek, it's a crick. Overgrown. On the other side of it, which you can see, is the back of a auto glass repair place. And then probably a good 100 feet on the other side of that is a tattoo shop. And right in the middle, across the street from that, is a cemetery.
It's a lot of fun.
Which is a little lit up. Yeah. So you look at my backyard, the main thing you can see is my grass, cemetery.
Yeah.
Because everything else is dark. But all the overgrown creek area.
Yeah.
So these booms are going on. And I'm like, I got dressed because it scared the crap out of me. I didn't know what was happening. And I walk out to my back door and I open it up and I walk out on my deck. And I'm listening. And I hear movement in the creek area.
Yeah.
I know 100% there was animals. Whether squirrels, because we have crap of squirrels around here. Anything in the world going through that. But when all I can see in front of me is a cemetery and I hear rustling and I can't really see that far past into my yard.
Your mind starts playing.
And I went, nope. And I shut the door. I literally out loud verbally went, nope. Shut the door. I was like, I'm good. And then I just sat in the living room and started listening for the noises somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, it was like, you get your mind going. And we watched, what was really funny is the night before that, Dave played Blair Witch.
Oh, did you?
And I will say, there are some moments of pure corniness.
Oh, completely.
And I'm like, oh, what is happening? But then there were points where Dave was like, especially because there's a dog involved too.
Yeah.
And you're like, where'd the dog go? Where did the dog go? Yeah. And then there's like a whimper, and you're like, puppy.
The dog does have a saving grace because you're like, when the dog's with you, you do feel slightly like, okay, I'm not alone.
Right.
And then when the dog does run off, and you're like, why did you run off?
Right. It was like,
where did you go?
Because there's also that thought of, did you run off because you were going after something?
Yeah.
Or because you were scared of something?
Yeah.
Because if you were scared of something, I wish you would have told me and I would have followed, you know? But yeah, there were several moments where it was like, what is going on? Okay. Nope. Not comfortable with this at all.
Yeah.
But no, I remember being scared shitless of that movie, the Blair Witch Project movie.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, is this real or not? Like, what is happening here? Like, what is... Because the way they did it was just...
Well, and it's just... I think the masters of cinema and some of the horror flicks definitely... They use less... They visualize less things to let your mind make the most terrible, crazy thing that you can think of. And I think that's like... People that do well... You know, like making I feel like PG-13 movies that are horror and scary are scarier than R-rated. Because typically the R-rated, they show you what's happening or show you the beast.
A little more gruesome.
Then you're like, oh my gosh. And I mean, it's why like Alien, I feel like the first Alien movie can be a horror movie, but then the second one, Aliens, is like, well, you see them all the time. It's more of like an action movie.
Right.
So, but yes.
You put on this list, you put Oxenfree ?
Well, just because I don't know. And
so it does have a lot of like, that's part of the reason why I tell people you should play Oxenfree, because it's like, what is happening? Like, there's some like, there's a great game, and I forgot to put it on here. And if you've never played it, I'd suggest trying it. It's called Gone Home.
Yeah, I have played.
Which is,
Gone Home.
I'm like, that whole game, I was like, somebody's gonna just come out and stab me in the face.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. There's an interesting twist and everything to it, but I literally spent that whole game waiting to die. I was like, because you hear the sound in that game is what sells it. The creaking of the doors, the stepping in this empty house, the thunder, the storm. I was like,
just the right atmosphere.
Just the correct atmosphere.
Right.
But Oxenfree has that same feel. Like you're waiting for something absolutely horrible to happen while you play it.
Yeah, I may have to try this game out now.
Until Dawn. Did you ever play Until Dawn?
I played the beginning of it, but I didn't play it past like the little like prologue thing.
Prologue? I didn't think I was going to like it, but I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had a couple of friends that enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, and it was one of those where I still have it installed on my PlayStation because it's kind of one of those I want to go back through and see if I can platinum them because there's so many different things that can happen along the way. And it was very interesting. I was like, you try to survive the game with everybody still alive and everybody still friends. And I like 2 people died. And I was so pissed at myself. I'm like, I need to do this game again. But it does really good with the jump scares and the trying to figure out what's happening and why. And so it's another one of those games. And I'm wondering if After Party is going to be jumping back to the Oxenfree thing. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if it's just going to be a straight fun party game or if it's. I feel like you're in hell.
Yeah, you're in hell. Two best friends in hell for some reason that you're not aware. Trying to outdrink the devil so you can get out. It's a good Halloween game. For sure. I
think it'd be a great Halloween game.
One game I did think about adding too, as we were just kind of sitting here talking, I forgot about this. Did you ever play the game Eternal Darkness?
No.
Back in the day. I think it was a GameCube game as well, back in the day. And this game was something special that tried to make, your character had an insanity meter. And as he lost his sanity more and more, things would happen to you as a person that you're like, what is happening right now? So, for example, let me give you a couple. As your insanity meter goes down, a couple of things that would happen, the volume, like on your TV, would come on and turn all the way down, and you're like, I didn't turn the, as like, and you'd kind of question, like, did somebody sit on the remote? Like, what's going on? It would
like
look
the actual
volume. Yeah, the game volume would go down, and you're like, what? It would look like your TV screen had shut off, and you were like, once again, did somebody sit on the remote?
Right.
One of the ones I remember is the character. This only happened to me one time in the game, and you play as multiple characters throughout history in the game. Turned around as I was playing as him. Turned around, looked at the screen, shot it at the screen, and it looked like there was like a bullet hole in the TV.
Right.
And then I went back to playing, and I was like, what just happened? Like, it just continually messes with you to make you think that you're going crazy.
And what system was this on?
I think it was on GameCube.
GameCube?
And it was one of those games that was like, I've never seen any other game really do this. Like, try to make you think you're going crazy as the player.
Interesting.
And there were things that you would not, it wasn't always like messing with the TV and stuff like that. There would be stuff that would happen in the game, but you'd be like, gosh dang it. Like, I know my character is going crazy, and this is why it seems like this right now, and everything will be okay. But it was very unique, very special. I think it was a, not Randy Pitchford. Oh, I can't remember who made it back in the day. I keep talking, but yeah, it was a good game.
I'll have to look into that. I've been thinking about buying. GameCube is one of the few systems that I never owned.
Really?
And so it's like one of those, like, I kind of wouldn't mind that. Something that just kind of needs to be put on here, because if you've never played it, and I don't know if you ever got a chance to try it. Did you ever play PT?
I did play PT, and I've played enough of it. Let's just say that.
The game...
Oh, it's terrible.
And even so my nephew's staying with us, Dave. I'll talk about him a lot.
Oh, it's so bad.
Until I can get him to get the hell out of my house, Dave. I don't know if you can hear me. Anyways, his brothers and his sister came in town, and none of them had played PT. Oh, well, see, it got taken off of the PlayStation Store. Well, and then before they fixed it, it's still you still just can't download it anymore. Yeah. But I had deleted it off of my PlayStation. And about a year ago, there was a thing that came out that said there's a way to get PT back on your PlayStation if you have it.
Yeah.
Basically, you changed your PlayStation account to an Asian account instead of American, and then you could download it again. And then you just had to change your account back. I was like, I want it back on my system. I want this to be something I can play.
I understand.
So I told Monica, I wonder when can I make my Austin? I was like, when can I make my oldest play this? And Monica was like, no. I'm like, he might. She was
I don't blame you.
Wait it. Just because I want to watch it. So I had 4 grown-ass people sitting on my couch playing PT in the pitch dark.
Yeah.
They couldn't be quiet because it so many goddamn jump scares. And then on top of that, like, I even found myself, like, knowing what was going to happen. I'm like, oh, this is the part where I don't want to do this, you know? And it was just...
It's freaky.
It's
a good one to bring up.
It's a good game to play. Okay, if you have a way to access it, that would be a good Halloween night. All the lights off, just let's do this.
Have you played Limbo?
I have it. I have not played it.
Oh, you've got to play Limbo.
Is it good?
It's amazing, and it's one of those that's probably like a 3 to 5 hour
Wait,
game.
Limbo. With the little boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I played it, and I beat it.
Good. Yeah, it's not very long.
Yeah.
So, but it definitely can be, it's a creepy game.
Yeah.
You're just like, what is happening?
Right, yeah, you spend the whole time going, what is happening? I will say, I was disappointed in the way it ended. It had a unique twist.
Yeah.
But I felt like could have still done it better. Like, I got the point they were going for.
Yeah, my first playthrough of it, I remember getting to the end, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but kind of being like, that's it.
Right.
Like, just being like, that's all you're going to give me. And then as I had time to kind of think about it further, I was like, no, that's appropriate. Like, I get what they're going for. Like, it's filling in the gaps gives you more of that ability to make a story for yourself. And once again, the mind is such an amazing thing so that you can kind of come up with whatever.
I haven't played it, but have you seen or have you played Little Nightmares?
No, but actually, Brent, it's one of his friends that worked for Media Molecule, the guys that made Little Big Planet. I think broke off from that and made it. So one of my friends, my friends' friends made that game.
Hey Brent, if you need testers for your buddy's stuff that he makes, we'll talk about it. Yeah. We'll plug it. We'll do whatever.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, no, that's one of those games where I've watched a lot of gameplay. I'm like, I want to play that game.
Yeah. It looks creepy.
It's not as creepy, but did you ever play Firewatch?
Yes.
There were several moments in that game where I was like, man, I'm out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
What's getting ready to happen to me?
That was one that disappointed me a little bit at the end, too.
Really?
Because I was kind of waiting for, like, a big something.
Right.
And once again, no spoilers, but I was like...
I wanted more closure with some of the characters. Having said that, I really enjoyed the way. Yeah. I would love more games like Firewatch where you're just wandering around doing stuff.
Yes.
And
I'd be okay with that, too.
Right, because it's not a meet an objective and a time limit and all this other stuff. It's storytelling. Yeah. It's all it is.
It's like reading a book.
It is. It really is. I could see where you're...
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of wish there was maybe another way to play it through to get a completely different ending that went better, but no. They're making a new game, The Valley of the Kings, which is the two women archaeologists going through, which... I have an obsession with Egypt. So, like, when I saw they were, I'm like, oh, you're making a game about Egypt? And
you're like sold.
Same type of game? I'm in.
Yeah.
So, I'm really looking forward to whenever they get that released.
Cool.
Yeah. Those are some, like... So, what's your favorite Halloween memory?
Like, game-wise, or just
in general?
Oh, man. Put me on the spot. Favorite Halloween memory. Okay, this isn't related to games at all, but my favorite Halloween memory is probably when my family and I all dressed up as the Incredibles for Halloween. And so we have, like, it was me and my wife, and then we have 3 little ones, and we had everybody kind of at the exact right age to play each character.
Nice.
And so we actually went out, and it was such a cool experience to see, as, like, one of my kids would be walking ahead of the group, and they'd be like, oh, she's, Violet from The Incredibles. And they'd see my son, they'd be like, oh, he's Dash. And then they'd see us, and they'd be like, whoa. And, like, it just kept, like, they'd be like, oh. And they're like, oh, my, you guys are all of them. They're like, that's amazing. And so that was a very good Halloween experience, just kind of as a family, as a collective group, to kind of be involved. And as my kids, like, that was the only year I think I was like, hey, we're all going to dress as something together. And everybody was on board with it. And then after that, I was like, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Right.
I may or may not dress up just depending on how I'm feeling that year.
Yeah. I'm the same way every year. It's like, what are you going for Halloween as? I'm going as Dad.
Yeah.
That's what I do for Halloween.
Yeah.
I'm Dad. Which, it's funny. So I didn't have a lot of Halloween memories growing up. It wasn't until I was in high school.
Yeah.
And then I was out doing stuff that there's no reason I should have been out doing anything.
That's the time to do it.
Yeah, right? So I'm going to... It's honestly, my favorite one that I can think of off the top of my head was, there was 2, one with each son. One year, Austin, I think he was 3 or 4, all he would say he wanted to be for Halloween was chicken nuggets. I'm like, no, Austin, I need you to, like, I can't make you a chicken nugget. And he was like, I want to be chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Like, he would not get off of it. And I don't remember what my wife ended up doing. She took a whole bunch of construction paper. She drew the Tyson logo.
Yeah.
And kind of drew chicken nuggets. And she took an old red shirt of mine.
Yeah.
And kind of puffed it out to look like a bag. And had his little arms and legs sticking out of it. He had Tyson and little things. He was a bag of chicken nuggets. We walked around, and that's what he was. And I think she still has the whole thing together.
How old was he?
I think 3, 4, or 5. It had to be 3 or 4. But it was like, and everybody loved it.
Yeah.
They were like, and one of the best selling points of it was the fact that it had the Tyson logo.
Right.
She was like, is he a chicken nuggets? It was like, yes, he is.
That's awesome.
And it was like, it was great. And I'm like,
yeah,
I didn't think this was going to work. I thought people were just going to be staring at my child all really weird.
And be like, what are you?
Right. It was just like, what is happening?
That's so cool. That doesn't surprise me that Monica's creative like that.
Oh, no, she's...
could make, something like that together.
I'll tell you about that here in a minute. She loves doing that stuff. She's super depressed that... She was kind of depressed because now that our oldest is in middle school...
Yeah.
No more Valentine's Day boxes. Oh. But I'm like, you still have the youngest. You still have 5 more years, 6 more years.
You could always have another.
Nope, we're done. But
so you say.
So you say. So the other one with the other one, the other memory with the youngest, we couldn't find it. It was hard finding an outfit for him. Mm-hmm. It just wasn't going very well. Like, in the day before, we found this weird monster outfit, but the mask wasn't working with him. It was just really weird. Well, I was at work, so I do custom embroidery. Mm-hmm. And Monica was like, he needs a beanie or something to wear because it's cold out and he won't wear the mask. So all I did was take a beanie and I put an eyeball on the front of it.
Yeah.
And we put it on. That was the eyeball, and he was wearing this really fluffy blue and green and brown fluffy costume.
Yeah.
Well, he ate a piece of chocolate, and he had chocolate on his mouth. So when we took him everywhere, they're like, "What is he? He's a chocolate monster." And it was like, it just
people loved it, huh?
Fit, and he's so, and he had to have been 2.
That's awesome.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
And then to add a little extra layer on that, we're walking through the trunk and treat, and there was 2 people behind us whose kid was wearing the same outfit. And I was like, that is amazing, one, that's still an outfit that's for sale, because that was 5 years ago at this point.
Yeah. I love it when things like that just work
out. Oh, yeah. It's like, this is so...
It was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for this week. Next week... Good week. Next week, we'll probably talk about... Well, no, I guess Death Stranding won't be out by the time we talk, because I want to talk about reviews. We'll get some more time in on Outer Worlds, because I want to know what you think of it. Yes. And I want you to try to play... Oxenfree.
Yeah, I think I might have to go and see if that is still on Game Pass. Just make sure. But I think after hearing everything you said, I'm very intrigued.
Yeah.
To give it a try.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Very, like I said, story driven. Like, what is happening? Next week, though, we're going to talk about holiday gift buying. Biggest games coming out.
Yeah.
And I think we both have some advice to give on, hey, if you're looking to buy your kid or your husband or your wife,
for sure,
a video game console, and you need some kind of direction, we'll put some stuff out. I'll also put another thing out. Hey, if you have questions in particular,
or ask fellow gamers if you have any recommendations for people, this holiday season. Let us know. We'll definitely promo those. Say, well, not promo, but just say, hey, give them a little prop up and say, hey. This would be something good to look into.
We'll also take the recommendations. Tell us what to play.
Exactly.
I would love to try something I haven't played yet. Which is funny. So I have a friend of mine who's, and I might have said this last week, I got a text was like, which Switch bundle should I get my son?
Yeah.
So I went through that.
Yeah.
Today, it was so hilarious. She texted me and goes, I had to call her. And it was like, we were getting ready to eat dinner. She goes, which Fortnite should I buy him? And I went... Wait, I don't know what you're doing, but I called her. Yeah. I'm like, first of all, your question is adorable. Secondly, don't spend money on a version of Fortnite.
Correct.
Like you can buy stuff.
Fortnite is free.
Yes,
just so everybody knows.
You can buy stuff for Fortnite, but it's all cosmetic, has no bearing on how you play the game.
Yeah.
But Fortnite is free. She goes, it is? Well, this says it's a game. I was like, yeah. They have a game.
Yeah.
And it's like $40 or $30 you can buy on PlayStation Network or Xbox or probably even on Switch. But do not spend your money on that. That's not the Fortnite your son wants. Yep. Fortnite is free.
Exactly.
Which Austin told me today that our kids are now friends on Fortnite.
That doesn't surprise me.
Doesn't? So has he played it anymore?
Not last couple days. I mean, unless he played it over the weekend. Yeah. But I was working.
But did he enjoy it?
Yeah, he's been having fun with it.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Austin, my children just had a Fortnite free week.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, it actually went really well.
Good.
Because Austin's a little more skilled gamer.
Yeah.
Logan, for his age, is fairly good with the video game stuff. But they both want to do two entirely different things.
Yeah.
Logan wants to screw around.
Right.
Austin wants to win.
Yeah.
Logan does not take well to losing anything ever. So there's sometimes, and I think it was last Friday or Saturday, I'm like, you know what? We need a break from Fortnite in this house. No Fortnite for an entire week. But what was really interesting was Austin was like, fine. Logan went, that's good. We probably could use a break from Fortnite. And I was like, you're kissing my butt because there's no way you meant the words you just said to me. I was like, you're trying to get what you want out of this. So yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Any news that pops up between now and then. And I know Death Stranding is probably going to be the biggest game that releases next week because I wouldn't want to go up against it, whether it's good or bad or what the inside is.
Yeah, be interesting to see what comes out from that next week.
Yeah, and we'll look at, hopefully probably next week, Joker will have passed $1 billion.
We'll see.
So, yeah. Well, as always, as the second time, do you think of a sign-off?
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see if Vic has anything fun to say next week. He might not be around. I don't know if he'll be around every week, especially with that kind of language. So, but thanks again for tuning in and listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. See you next week, guys.
Yeah.